Okay, I am not quite sure what happened or what is happening. So it appears that I just did a Facebook Live, but perhaps it wasn't recording. So I'm going to start all over again. I am so happy to be here for the quickie, a Saturday quickie with Pat, where I'm going to continue to talk about emotional eating and how it is a problem, and it could be a problem for you. You might be an emotional eater, or you might be curious about how those extra pounds come on and how emotional eating might be one of the causes. So today I want to talk about thought errors. And what do I mean by that? So, the most powerful tool that we have to change behavior is our thoughts. Because basically, how we think creates an emotion and a feeling, which then we will take action on. We will behave a certain way, and then we will get certain results. And quite often, some of the things that we think are very innocent, just kind of thoughts that go through our head, little thoughts, and sometimes they actually are the thoughts that are not helping us get to where we want to get. And in terms of weight loss, these thoughts could throw you off your path, could be your reason or your excuse for not taking care of yourself. And they seem so innocent, and sometimes they're just very little thoughts that kind of flit through your mind, and you don't see that the power that they could have for them. So one of the things that we do in weight loss is to not only, I think we talked about this, the three things that are really important in terms of weight loss is what we put in our mouth, how we treat our body, but importantly, equally important is what's in our mind. So I want to talk today about thought errors that you may have. So I'm going to give you a bunch of ideas for what thought errors have gone through my mind in my past, and that I've picked up from clients. And I want you to kind of examine or listen and see if there's any of these thoughts that you've thought, and have they helped you to choose further the path that you want, or have they kind of knocked you off your path? So many of the thoughts that we have, these little thoughts, are unconscious. So it's important to take them from the subconscious to the conscious, because what happens with the unconscious thought is we have this feeling and we don't really know what's going on, and we want to eat. And so we are choosing again to eat because of our emotions. So let's look at some of these thought errors that will, I think, help not take you down the path towards you want, but sometimes lead to self-sabotage. So let's see, here's one. Oh, I can eat everything in moderation. Everybody should, if you just eat in moderation. I don't know if you're an emotional overeater, if someone has said that to you, you can just eat in moderation. And for some, that is easy, but if you do have issues, that thought is not always very helpful. So to think that thought yourself is to really not accept the reality of your situation. So I think that's a thought error. I have a list here, so I'm going to read some of them. I've never done it before, so how could I do it now? So this is a matter of looking to your future by looking back. So because you haven't done it up till now does not mean that you can't do it moving forward. If you start today and you learn new behaviors and new ways to look at your mind and new ways to treat your body, you can achieve new things. You can change your behavior. So when you say, I just can't change, it is actually a thought that has a lot of power, and it is a thought error because it's not true. How about, I can work it off later. So you're about to make a decision, you have this feeling, and you just driven to eat this food, and you think to yourself, oh, I can work it off later. And so that, again, a very simple thought. Whether you actually do work it off later is, maybe you do, maybe you don't. But in that moment, that thought is not very helpful. And so I would consider that a thought error. Um, Everything is bad for us, so what difference does it make? Okay, everything is not bad for us. That is people say that when they don't want to quit smoking or when they learn something new. And quite often, the information we get about the world, the toxicity around us, and the environment is overwhelming. And it does change. But the truth is, not everything is bad for you. And thinking that thought, kind of, does that take you to the path of taking care of yourself? I don't think so. How about, oh, I'll start on Monday. I'll start after my birthday. I'll start after my vacation. This idea that it's simply just putting it off is a simple, easy thought. And the truth is, I'm a little distracted by the dog barking there. But anyway, I think that putting it off is one of those things that I know for myself. I put off many things, and it doesn't get you obviously any closer to what you want to be. So that is a thought. If you think of that as a thought error, then you might look at that a little bit more closely. Cutting back is painful, or I'm starving. I mean, God, I can't tell you how many times I've said that. I'm starving to death. Um, it would take a lot to starve to death. And the thought, I'm starving to death, just kind of drives you to grab at things and to give yourself permission. And it is actually not true. Starving to death would take quite some time, and you would certainly know it if you were starving to death. And we all say that. And I say it as well. And is it a helpful thought? I don't think so. How about, oh, I'm confused. I can't follow a food plan. Being confused, that is such a great excuse that we use. It's one of those thoughts that give you permission to not learn something new. And if you want to learn something new and you are confused, you can get unconfused by taking certain steps, like reading about something, learning about something, breaking it down into very small patterns or small steps, and then you could break down your confusion. So just the thought, I'm confused, it's not very helpful. And I would challenge you to think of it more as a thought error. Okay, how about mine? This was a big one for me. I want to eat whatever I want to eat, whenever I want to eat, because it's my life. Yes, that's true. It's my life. And I did do that. And when I did that, I wasn't very happy. So what do I want to eat today is the food that I am planning to eat, because I know that what I get after that, that thought of this is my food and it's nourishing, it does help me every day, and it keeps me in shape, and it keeps me at a very healthy weight. Um, how about, oh, I have to eat special treats and sweets and drinks when I travel. This is really very, very common. This idea that anything goes when you're on vacation. And if your weight is not a problem, and if you manage your weight, then that's fine. But it depends on you. What really nourishes your body? What kind of food does your body get energized on? What kind of food gives you the ability to be clear-headed and to continue to explore or physically feel better about walking, because your weight is not really too much and affecting your knees and your joints. So that is definitely something you want to look at. Yeah, going on vacation is great. Meeting people, looking at the sights, taking in. There's many things you can do on vacation. That doesn't mean you have to eat the food that doesn't support you in a healthy lifestyle. So that, I think, is one of those thought errors. How about menopause? I'm in menopause. I just can't lose weight. Now, it is true, as we get older, everything slows down. But there are ways, and there's many food plans that can help women in menopause to lose weight and maintain that weight loss. I mean, we have to look at many things. We have to look at hormones. We have to look at cortisol, all kinds of, we have to look at what we put in our mouth, how we treat our body. Are we getting enough sleep? And maybe some intermittent fasting. But there are ways that women in menopause can lose weight. I've seen it, and I know that is actually true. But you do have to kind of figure it out, but it is possible. So to just say, I'm in menopause, there's no hope for me, that is a thought error. How about food is everywhere? Everyone's eating it. Everyone my age is overweight. So what difference does it make? Yeah, it's true. There are over 41% of the women over 60 are obese. And if you are a survivor of child sexual abuse, which some of you may be, then you have a twice 50%, no, you have twice as much of a chance of having a eating disorder or being obese than people who have not been abused. So of that 41%, many of us are in that picture. I mean, I was in that picture. I'm not there anymore because I have learned to manage my mind and my food intake and my body and my thoughts. So I think that that can be one of those thoughts that aren't true. Okay, how about food is love? That's a big one. How many people share or think that they are expressing love through food? I mean, it is just, it's everywhere in our society. Food is love. And that depends, right? If I'm going to, I remember arguing with my mom about this, and she would want to give me a cake, and I'd be like, "Ma, don't you understand? A cake is not a loving thing to me. Sugar is just not. It's not good for my body. It's not good for me. And as a diabetic, it wasn't good for her either. And so discovering other ways to celebrate was really important to me and was one of the ways in which I was able to be successful in terms of losing weight. So, food is love. Love is love. Food is nourishment. So that is another thought error. How about partying without food and alcohol? That just ain't fun. So if you think that giving up certain foods or even going to a party without having to eat the food that's there, if you think it's not possible to have fun, then I'm asking you, what about the people? Like, what's the point of connecting with people at a party? Do you really have to eat? Does eating, does it make you more interesting? Does it make you more curious? I would again examine these thoughts. And that is kind of the work that we'll be talking about on the webinar next week, which is Eat, Weigh, and Suffer Less. How to overcome emotional eating, 3 steps to overcome emotional eating. So I really hope that you will sign up for that webinar where we'll talk more about different aspects of emotional overeating, emotional eating, and I'll give you some tips and some suggestions on how you could overcome emotional eating in your life. And I hope you can sign up. So I think that's it for today. I would love to challenge you. Have you had these thought errors, and are they serving you, or are they causing you to not achieve your goals, your weight loss goals, your maintenance goals, your health goals? That's what I'd like you to think about today. And tomorrow I'm going to talk about why it's so hard to change. And then we will see you then tomorrow, which is Sunday. Today's Saturday, and I hope you have a lovely Saturday evening. And we'll see you at the webinar or tomorrow. Okay, bye-bye.